All right, now you see it. All right, there we go.
Damn that refresh button. There we go. Now I do see it.
All right, cool.
All right.
Sweet. So, I guess we both did some homework over the break.
Just a little bit.
It's a little bit, not too heavy. Just looking out which libraries we have available for our disposal, and we both found a few of them and such. And I'm proposing right now that maybe we can just make a list of all of them, and then we'll go through them, and then maybe I think a good decision making strategy could be to have maybe like a March Madness kind of a single bracket deal, or could make a tier list of all of them, and then we can more seriously and critically assess those that end up on the S tier. Or we can any other ideas here?
No, honestly, I like the idea of tiering them.
Okay. Yeah.
Or we could we could March Madness it, because the list that we have currently ain't that big.
Yeah. And so a tier list would be better for, and maybe as we go through this, we'll find more of them to throw on the list, by the way. But
yeah.
Let's see here. It's hard to say. Hard to say which one.
Yeah, so currently we found iPlug 2, Juice, Distro DPF.
Let's notepad this real quick. I'm gonna notepad this real quick.
Alright.
A Discord message.
Enhance your writing with Copilot.
Oh, yeah. Alright, and we're still going to include Steinberg on this list just for purposes, even though it's probably going to be thrown out pretty quickly. So.
Probably. I will be honest, Steinberg does look the most professional.
Yeah, it does.
I just don't want to go through the hassle of putting the Steinberg stuff on literally every single document.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is probably the highest quality on this list. Is this the and Juice is pretty high quality too, I think.
Juice is pretty high quality as well. You know, I don't know if anybody out there uses any of the Isotope products, but those are generally created using Juice.
Yeah, I have a mastering plugin through Mixcraft on that, and it has all these mastering presets like pop and rock and stuff like that. Metal or whatever.
Is it the AI one that they developed?
I don't think it's. AI one, no. It's got a lot of presets on there.
Gotcha.
I'll show
Yeah,
you
because
later.
there's a plugin that they developed for mastering that's AI assisted.
Yeah, I don't need
And
mine's AI
so
because I got my Mixcraft version before all the AI boom really
yeah,
exploded.
it's really cool though, because like you sit there, you choose kind of like a mastering type, right? Like pop, metal, EDM, whatever,
Yeah.
right? And then you run it. You press play on your song at your loudest point in the song, right? You let it play for about 20 seconds, then you hit pause, and it'll sit there and it'll start to work its magic, building a chain of effects to apply to your master. And then once it's done, like if you choose the EDM, it'll do something. Choose the metal, it'll probably bring out the drums and make those hi hats and cymbals and kicks a little cleaner. It's actually really cool.
Yeah, maybe I'll actually show you the one that I have. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah, but it is what I do. What I do have is pretty good. It's not AI. Uh, oh yeah, there's also Aspic. It didn't look too promising. It's actually made with Steinberg, so um,
Yeah, there's also Synth Edit, which is made with Steinberg.
like that synthetic. Juice. Two. There's I'm right on that. There's Traction Engine.
Traction Engine? I have not heard of that. The licensing plans. Oh boy. I'll check out their GitHub repo real fast. Let's see what's their licensing? NB Enterprise licensing.
I'm gonna keep on listing stuff out here.
Yeah, go for it. I'm just gonna
Just read through stuff and check out what I put down there. That's cool.
so with Traction, it's a little interesting because it does use Juice.
Yeah.
However, the license that you get for Traction does not include a license for Juice, meaning you have to then go to Juice and get the appropriate license on top of getting the license from Traction.
So there's nested licensing concerns.
Oh, goody. Why?
Nested licensing, yes. Exactly what we need.
Why? What is this shenanigans?
DPF. I plug to use. Yeah, there's another one. Clap. So we could get the clap. Again. No BWST3. No, there's one that.
There's Highs. HISE.
I already got that down there.
Oh.
So
See that?
number 8.
Okay. Yeah. Yep, I see it now.
It's one that Spotify created. This is for plugin host. Okay.
So Heis uses Juice. Nested licensing once again.
This one makes you learn a functional programming language, which is interesting.
Oh, which one's that?
FOSS. It's really what the library is.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So we have to learn how to program in FOSS if we want to use FOSS.
Yeah. You want to learn Rust?
Rust? You know what?
Yeah.
You know what? I wouldn't mind learning Rust. I heard it's actually a decent language to learn. And it's a little bit like C++. So it would be like learning Haskell. So I'd rather learn Rust than use, I don't know, FOSS is. Yeah. Which one are you looking at?
I was looking at KVR's KVR Audio's little forum, looking through there, seeing if anybody has any suggestions, and I came across crates.io.
What is it again? Craigs?
Crates. Like a box.
Oh, crates. Yeah.
Yeah. Crates.io.
Okay.
This crate is no longer actively developed or maintained. VST2 has been officially discontinued. It is no longer possible to acquire a license to distribute VST2 products. Got it. So crates is off the list.
Okay. Yeah, I can't really find any more.
Yeah.
All right. Unless you have any more, I think we could probably start creating our. I don't know. We got 14. I'm gonna include even the crates on here just because, just for evaluation purposes. But I'm just wondering right now. We got 14 of these things, right? Do we want to do a tier list or do we want to do a March Madness deal?
I feel like we should start off with a tier list.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So what is our criteria going to be? Tier maker, yes.
If I gotta load this then. Hold on.
All right, those are just keyblades.
Yeah, while I create this tier list, but you tell some jokes and entertain the crowd.
Entertain the crowd by telling jokes, eh? Hear about the programmer who lost his glasses?
No.
He couldn't see sharp. Oh, that's bad.
What about my B1? What about the B1?
Oh, the Canadian B versus USB.
Yeah.
Fudge. How does that one go again? Hold up. Gotta pull out my phone. How far back was that? Sorry, folks. Give me a moment. Scrolling through messages. There's no way it was back in February. Definitely not early March. What's the difference between Canadian Bs and USBs? USBs have ports made for them. Knee slapper. Oh boy.
Yeah, these are not. I'm not going to be doing art with this. Just by the way, I'm just gonna. I'm gonna just snip out the pictures here of the words.
Ooh, snipping tool in Windows 11 is different.
Yeah.
got a whole different GUI. I don't know if I like that. I like my Windows 10 snipping tool GUI. It's intuitive. But yeah, let's see. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that there's a joke about folders somewhere. I just can't find it. Let's. Oh, here. Google has bad jokes. Actually, you know what? No. Let's see how good ChatGPT is at writing jokes.
This is the full GUI, by the way, here. So it's not just the small thing. We can highlight things. Edit.
Yeah. Snipping tool. Yeah, no, I like the Windows 10 GUI more. All right, ChatGPT, tell me a bad joke. That's bad. Why don't skeletons fight each other? Because they don't have the guts.
That is way to ruin somebody's Friday.
Here's a good one. Why can't your nose be 12 inches long?
How come?
Because then it would be a foot.
Yeah. I don't know about that.
All right. ChatGPT's got another one for me. Why do programmers always mix up Halloween and Christmas?
Because I feel like there's a good reason for this.
It's actually a really good reason. This is actually pretty funny. Because oct31 is equal to dec25. So octal 31 is decimal 25. That's actually that's funny.
I'm trying to figure out what the joke is here.
So the joke is the shorthand. So October shortened to 3 letters is OCT, which is short for octal. Right? And December shortened to 3 letters is DEC, which is short for decimal. And so octal 31 is the same number as the decimal number 25. So oct31 is equal to dec25.
Oh, I get it then. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't work a lot with octal, by the way. Mostly hex or decimal.
Yeah. All right, here's a joke for you. How many programmers does it take to change a light bulb?
I don't know.
None. That's a hardware problem.
Okay. That was decent. That was decent.
That was good. That was good. All right, here's an easy one for you. Why did the programmer quit his job?
Why?
Because he didn't get a raise.
I mean,
Get
yeah,
it?
I mean,
A raise. That's good. It's not like a money raise, but the programming array. Bad joke. Bad joke.
Oh, God. I was thinking about.
You were thinking about money.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Why did the developer go broke?
Because he didn't
Because
get a
he
raise.
used up.
Yeah.
No, because he used up all his cash.
Oh, yeah.
Cash memory.
Yeah.
Yeah. These are good. That's bad. That's not even good.
Yeah, what is that one?
That's not a good one.
I'm interested.
Why did the coder bring a ladder to work?
Why?
Because they heard the code had too many levels.
Ah.
Why don't programmers like nature?
Do not know.
It has too many bugs.
Ah.
Not good, because that's just a repeat. That one sucks. No. Nope. No.
Take this off the screen here.
Why was the developer so good at making friends?
Why?
Because they always knew how to call back when needed.
Yeah.
I think ChatGPT is running out of jokes. I'm getting repeats.
Yeah. Well, I created the tier list here.
All right. Alrighty. So what's our criteria?
Criterion. Yeah, let me do something first here. Put these up top here, Yeah. We need to talk about criterion. I'll do that in a second.
Once you've finished shuffling around the images.
Yep. Go down there. So we don't need all these dumb keys. I don't know why they're there, but we don't need them.
We don't need the keyblades.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Let's get our notepad out. Yeah. All right. Cool. And we'll just use this. All right. So
First off, I'm just, it doesn't matter what our criterion is. Crates.io is going in F tier.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll handle that later. Okay. Is it still supported?
Yes, that definitely needs to be a criterion. Because if it's no longer supported, why run it?
Yeah.
Why try to use it?
Okay. I guess programming language. I feel like that's not enough of a driver. Maybe it could be, but
Not at this stage. Right now, we're just trying to choose what we feel would be the best fit.
And most of them aren't C++ anyway, or something terrible.
Exactly.
So we're not going to put that on there, just for people that are wondering. But licensing.
Ooh, yes.
That's a huge one.
How is their licensing? There are.
Do that out of 10. That'll be an integer value.
There are some that I don't like.
Yep. Maybe like something like flexibility / features.
Okay.
Can you think of one? We're gonna get one more good one or two more good ones.
I don't want to say amount of documentation, because there is a point at which too much documentation is cumbersome.
Yeah, but it would be regarding documentation, because that's a huge. I think that is pretty huge. Because if something has no documentation, then it's gonna be hard.
Damn near pointless.
Yeah. So how can we phrase that?
Understandability? I don't know.
Usability?
Yeah, usability.
That's a good anything else?
Hmm. Uh, um, I want to say something along the lines of like GUI support.
Oh yeah, because I mean, couldn't that be under number 3 though?
Yeah, because that's just features.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I can't think of an additional criterion.
Yeah. I think this will get us going.
Yeah.
They're pretty umbrellaed. So okay.
Alrighty. So with Steinberg,
Right.
is it still supported? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It is supported, therefore it shall participate.
Yep. It's still in the running.
Licensing?
It's still in the running. As much as we talk bad about the licensing, it's still in the running. So
Yes.
just to give that to you guys out there. All right. So yeah, licensing.
Licensing, honestly, I would rank it maybe
It's not
5 out of 10.
Yeah, it's definitely not an 8 or a 9. It's pretty heavy-handed, but I think we can still we don't have to deal with anything that's nested licensing. It's just a bear of a license in itself. And then also, I think also it's free to use as long as we are open sourcing it, right?
Yes.
Okay. Even if we,
it's just that if we open source it, we have to attach their logo and everything to every document.
What about intent to sell? What about that part?
Intent to sale, we would need to use a different license from them than the GPL3.
Yeah.
We would have to use their proprietary license,
Mm-hmm.
and that is its own can of worms.
Okay. So, I mean, is this both?
Oh, that could be another criterion. Boss, free and open source. You know, is the SDK or platform free to use?
Right.
Because like Steinberg, technically, it does have the free and open source license, but it does still have the proprietary license if you're planning on selling it.
Right.
So for licensing, I'd leave it at a 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
Free and open source, I would put this at 50-50.
Yeah.
Because on the one hand, there is the open source license, but then there's also the proprietary license,
and they're separate, and they're
yeah.
So if we have an intent to sell, we'll have problems. Okay. Sounds good. Flexibility features available. Usability. I think this is where it's going to probably win out.
Yep, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I think in terms of we don't know
10
too
out
much.
of 10 on flexibility and usability.
Yeah, we don't have too much right now. I don't know if we, but you know, it is like the gold standard, you know, and so
Yep.
it's got to be the best of the deal. On that.
Basically the gold standard. This is what everything else is essentially up against.
Yep.
Is licensing.
It's all coming down to that. All right, so let's see here. I think that is a 30 out of 40. So right now we can put that. It's a C average, right?
Yep.
And we can put
Just
it comfortably in the C category, whereas Steinberg. And can I actually add a tier here?
You should be able to just drag and drop it up onto the tier list.
No, I mean create another tier.
Maybe? I don't know, hit one of the cogwheels.
Oh, there it is. Perfect. Oh, look at that. Okay. Sweet. We don't need any of these. Okay.
Oh man. C average for Steinberg. I don't know. We might have to go back and readjust. You know,
we might
add a little boost to people's scores.
Yeah, this isn't going to be a final grade. There's going to be a curve to this.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. What's next? Is that the distro DPF plugin?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna actually have to investigate this a little bit, I think.
So I was looking at their licensing.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice.
Yeah,
It's nice. Basically, we can use it and do whatever we want with it.
Yeah.
The only downside is that the the framework is not it's not really official. It's not as official as Steinberg.
Right.
Right. So
the documentation might be a little bit iffier.
Yeah. Yeah. Features.md.
Is it still supported?
Yes. Let me see when the last push was made. Okay, it's iffy on if it's still supported.
Okay.
The last push to the GitHub repo was last year.
Last year.
Yeah. Which, I mean, isn't bad.
Yeah.
It's not bad. However, this repo was created at least 11 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a pretty long-running repo.
Yeah.
VST 3 fix incorrect MIDI input values for CC and no on off. Okay, so it looks like there was a push. Yeah, June 20th, 2024.
Okay.
Yeah. So 10 months ago.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if the answer to number one should be maybe.
Maybe. I would put maybe.
Okay. That's gonna probably dock it down a little bit, I think.
Yeah. I mean, if the framework is completed, like, and they don't need to make any changes to it, then that
yeah.
that would make sense to me as to why it hasn't been pushed to in a year.
Yeah, maybe people haven't had any bugs or anything. Yeah. Are you having issues?
They have 57 open issues.
57 open issues. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a maybe on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, but you said the licensing was pretty chill.
Licensing is great in my opinion.
Okay.
Because it's it's an ISC license. So it's a license that lets people do anything with their code. With their code without warranty. So commercial use, distribution, modification, private use. The only limitations are that they're not held liable for any damages.
So if we get a virus from them, they're not liable.
Yeah. Not only that, but if it locks our PC,
yeah,
they're not liable.
Okay. That might dock it a little bit, I feel like.
A little bit, but I mean that's standard boilerplate.
Yeah.
That
is true.
standard boilerplate for literally any license. We're not held accountable for any damages that may or may not come from using our product.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Flexibility and features available and usability. I don't know if we know that much.
So flexibility, the fact that distro has the ability to build for VST2, VST3, and clap. Yeah, it doesn't have the ability to export for AAX, which is going to dock it a little bit. Though to be fair, I don't know really anybody who uses AAX plugins. But it's as long as it can actually build for VST3, which they use their own. So instead of using Steinberg for the VST3, which VST is trademarked by Steinberg or copyrighted by them, whatever. So technically, they're not supposed to be using VST3 in their description, but they do have a their own little VST3 exporting module called Travesty. So if it actually works in creating a VST3 plugin, then that's cool.
Yeah. So flexibility might be a little bit higher. We'll get 8.
Flexibility, I would. I'd give it a 7, a 6 or a 7.
Okay. Usability, we said documentation wasn't as good.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot in online documentation. I'm reading through their documentation right now. Yeah, their documentation, I would give it a 3 or a 4.
3 or 4.
Yeah.
Other aspects of the usability.
They show an example of making a mute plugin, a gain plugin, and that's really about it. So like, I don't know. I would still leave it at a 3 or a 4.
Okay. 4. All right.
Yeah. Actually, dock it down to a 3.
Okay. Gives us a C. Where's C average?
Last list. Actually, you know what? The further I look into its documentation, class index. Okay. Actually, the documentation, now that I'm actually like not doing just a cursory look over, not bad. Spaces, numbers. Yeah, it looks like okay. Sorry. It looks like any sort of like actual effect that we would want to build, we would literally have to build it out ourselves. However, it does have um, some built-in functions to help uh, sync events. So that's nice. So to sync MIDI events. So a handy class to help keep audio buffer in sync with incoming MIDI events. Yeah. That's nice. The documentation reminds me a lot of like reading the documentation for Linux.
Yeah.
Where everything is literally on its own page, which is nice. A couple of small examples. Yeah, so in that case, honestly, double the documentation score, because either double it or add 2 points to it.
Okay.
Because yeah, you see at the top of the plugin framework little web page how it says classes. You can click on that.
Oh yeah.
And you'll be able to see literally everything.
Yeah, I thought this was the only thing until you pointed out that there was a. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is okay. Yeah, this ain't too bad. This is just the main page. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, modules, namespaces.
Yeah.
Classes. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. This is a little bit more complete. Okay.
Yeah, because that main page was just like that. That's what made me initially sit there and give it a low score.
Yeah, I don't blame you. It didn't look like there was other stuff on here until, yeah.
Until you start digging.
Yeah. So I guess in that sense, yeah, I guess we could add 2 more points to one or two more points to usability. I just kind of wonder about the other stuff
Yeah.
before I bump it up to a 6.
Yeah, go ahead and bump it up to at least a 4.
Okay. Should we do a 4 or 5? Because if it's a 5, then it turns into a B tier.
I would leave it at a 4. Just because we what's the etc. for usability? What were the other things that we listed? I forgot.
I don't know. I don't know what else goes into usability.
Yeah, I would just leave it at a 4.
Maybe like UI, but that's not really applicable to this.
Yeah, UI. That's we're just with distro. It would be using their
libraries and such.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's just going to be standard wherever you go. I mean,
yeah.
It's not like we have a GUI that we're interacting with or anything. Although, guess one thing that could go into this would be tools needed, right? So if we're forced to have like a Visual Studios framework, for instance, that could definitely affect versus just like being able to just use VS Code and using whatever.
Yeah, because it does look like the distro DPF uses CMake.
Okay. That's not horrible.
Yeah.
But as long as it's not totally inflexible. Like if I have to buy a bunch of tools, right?
Yeah.
That's going to dock it. Versus like if I can get that tool for free, That's kind of what I'm getting at for tools. I mean, of course, they're going to have to get stuff. And of course, like the freer our tools are going to be, the more we're going to probably have to, use things like CMake and whatnot. So, but I kind of going to go back to Steinberg. That makes me want to go back to Steinberg here because it did seem like there was a dependency on having Visual Studio. And I kind of feel like that dampens the usability of it somewhat, just because I don't want to have to deal with logging in through Visual Studios, and I don't want to have to buy anything, so I don't know.
Yeah, you can dock at a point.
Yeah. I think we might have to do that. Okay. So tools needed for DPF. There's like a list of needed materials here. I mean, you would definitely need like a C++ compiler.
Yeah, it says it allows developers to create plugins with custom UIs using a simple C++ API.
All right, where do you see this?
In the README.
There you go. Yeah, so I'm guessing it's going to need C++. Yeah, that's probably why we're dealing with CMake on this. Is yeah. Okay. I guess I guess on that standpoint, though, if it does use Visual Studio, that kind of works for it. Just because for us, we would need to create a. Well, I don't know. Does VS Code? Can you get your own compiler on that? Do you need to get like GCC on here?
Mm,
Or do you still need GCC even with the C++ extensions? I know with Visual Studio you don't.
yeah, I don't really know because I don't really use VS Code.
Okay.
Um,
What do you use?
yeah, I use Visual Studio.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I use Visual Studio for just about damn near everything.
Okay.
It's either that or PyCharm.
Oh, yeah.
Writing in Python.
Yeah, I use VS Code for everything.
It's like I don't know. I just I like the feel of Visual Studio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something always.
And like I know how to work it.
Yeah. Fair enough.
And I'm sure VS Code's not all that different.
Yeah. For me, it's just like later in college, I just used Visual Studio Code more and more. Then it just became a default.
Yeah, Visual Studio Code's nice though because the amount of libraries.
Yeah, and it's pretty lightweight too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly though, I think for C development, I think having Visual Studio could be pretty nice. I can see how that.
Visual Studio, like yeah, even with game development,
Yeah.
like I'm using Visual Studio.
Yeah, oh yeah, I could see it for game development a whole lot. And then I also really like the features like the WPF and the yeah, so there's definitely some stuff there that I really like. Yeah. But I mean if I'm what I'm doing is like scripting or I'm doing like Java stuff or whatnot, then I usually use
If I need to if I need to automate like mouse movement and keystrokes, I'll use something like auto hotkey. But you know, other than that, like basically just using Visual Studio and PyCharm.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't really tell based off of here what other tools we need to run this. Is it?
It looks like.
Is it literally just a C++ API?
Yeah.
And that's all we need to
what
know
I'm
about
seeing.
it? And there's nothing else? Like, okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. Because
that makes it pretty nice then. I don't know.
Yeah. You have the.
It's like you only have one problem to solve at that point, you know?
Yep. Because yeah, I'm looking at the examples folder right now. Looking at the MIDI through.
Mm-hmm.
So this example will show how to use MIDI output in DPF-based plugins. Simply calls write MIDI events in its process function for every event it receives. Right? All it really has is this MIDI through example plugin.cpp. That's about it. You know, of course, it has the header,
Mm-hmm.
right? The HPP, but even then, that's literally just C++.
Yeah.
It has the makefile stuff, but that's literally just for creating the plugin.
Right. Yeah, because makefile, that's usually what you use to build something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um.
uh, so I'm thinking about this, right? So with this MIDI through example, we could literally just copy it and change the run function
Mm-hmm.
so that it only captures every other MIDI event. And that could be a feature. So instead of it capturing every MIDI event, it's every other. Like, why not? Why not?
Yeah. So you would put reverb on every other keyboard stroke, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
You know, or like, do you want to mute just every other note just to see how it sounds? Actually, no, that's actually genius.
Yeah.
Right? Because right, let's say that let's say you're writing like a simple bass line, right? So it's literally like right? You got the kick and then the bass separated by a half note, right?
Yeah.
So let's say that you draw the bass notes in every half note, and you're like, oh man, I don't want to take the time to delete half of these. You just run the effect,
Yeah.
boom, that already eliminates half of them.
Yep. Oh, and then the other thing too is that it's always very annoying, at least for like Mixcraft, for instance. Um, you need to have one track per effect, or right? You can only have one track per effect.
Okay.
Like you can't have so you can't have like chorus on something part of the way through and then make it stop afterwards. You need to put chorus on the whole track the entire way through, right?
Gotcha. So you can't split it.
Yeah, I can't choose where the effects get applied during that track.
Really? There's no automation option to turn it on and off?
If there is, I'm unaware of it.
So I know with Fruity Loops, I love Fruity Loops. You can create an automation clip to turn on and off effects.
Yeah.
I would assume that there's a way to do it in Mixcraft. I'd be surprised if there wasn't.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, just choosing where to put on an effect on or to mute something. Change the volume. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like there is a CMake list here. Yeah, so we might need a little bit of that.
Yeah, so this is the CMake list is
Clap versions.
yeah, so the jack, the LV2, VST2, VST3 clap.
Yeah.
But we only really care about the VST3 because that's compatible with like every single DAW.
Yeah.
No, I'm excited for distro DPF. Like the more I look at it, the more it piques my interest.
Yeah.
If it works.
Yeah.
If it works.
You know what I'm going to do here? I'm going to actually bump up the usability a little bit more on this. I feel like it deserves at least a 5 on the usability, maybe even a 6. Because it doesn't seem like you need a whole lot of stuff to get you going on here. Like all you're really dealing with is C++ and possibly Makefile/CMake, which is fine. I don't know. How do you feel about?
So I'm looking. So I'm looking through its YAML right now.
Yeah.
So I'm looking through its workflows. So I came across one from 2 weeks ago. It says it's got a failed case next to it for fix Win32 CMake build. So, but looking into it, it actually passes the Win32 in Win64, but it fails on the Mac OS.
Oh, okay. And
it passes on Ubuntu.
Our project scope is only for Windows, though, so I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Whew. As long as it builds for
Windows
Win32,
it'll fit the scope. Yeah, it's. So I don't know, maybe, but given that, I don't know if I want to give it a 6. I don't know.
let's take a look at this latest issue. Getting channel name labeled by DAW. Hello everyone, I'm having trouble obtaining channel names. As we know, commercial plugins like FabFilter's Q4 can display EQ curves for multiple instances, and in its VST3 and clap version, it can show the track name for each EQ. 2 Q4 plugins on the same track are distinguished by numbers. Is there a way to get the name of the track that has the plugin mounted? Thanks for your help. Response: there is no such concept for DPF at all right now. First course of action would be to investigate how specific plugin formats do it and try a first hacky implementation that works. Code patches as welcome. Response: thank you for your reply. By the way, I encountered some issues while trying to implement sidechain compression. I noticed that there are some references to sidechains within DPF framework, but it seems there's no implementation for them. I'm trying to change some input booleans to enumerated types like port type. We have distro plugin num inputs and distro plugin num outputs. So we could have distro plugin num sidechains maybe. Since sidechain ports are definitely input ports, more troubles appear. I've also tried singleton pattern, shared memory for all instances of a plugin to get another channel's data, but since plugins only receive float parameters from the DAW, I can't restore my sidechains after DAW reboots. Oh no. Once a sidechain plugin is done, a sidechain button or combo box should be shown in AU or Ableton like so. There must be a lot of work behind this little button. A response from the creator, sidechain is working as far as I know. You need to mark the audio port as such, for example, blah, blah, blah. Really works, sorry for disturbing. Okay. Yeah, okay. So it looks like people are just trying to turn this into fab filters, which no, that is a professionally created software plugin with a big development team behind it, whereas distro DPF is small with not a big team behind it. But the fact that the repository's creator is responding to issues from 2 weeks ago gives me hope.
Yeah.
It gives me hope on this.
Where are you seeing these discussions? Are they?
They're in the issues.
Oh, they're in the issues. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so that was just that was literally just the latest issue.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. I kind of want to give this a B.
I kind of want to give this a B too.
Yeah, let's bump this up. All right.
Because like, there's not a whole lot in licensing that we have to worry about. It's free. We don't have to do any ridiculous loophole shenanigans. It apparently can create VST3s. It has features that we can utilize and build upon. Like my only thing is, can it save the presets and load them correctly when the project is closed and reopened? Right? That's my only question at this point. And I guess the only way to find out is to try it out.
Yep.
Yeah, I am a big fan of licensing on this.
Yeah.
Regardless of target format, DPF itself needs to be mentioned in attribution.
Attribution?
Yeah, so we just have to say we use the distro DPF plugin framework. At least.
Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, that's
just at least fine. Once.
That's perfectly fine. Yeah, that's.
It's not saying that we need to have it on every single fucking document, on every single page.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's perfectly fine. Yeah. I think in terms of licensing, it gets an S tier.
Yeah.
Just
now the additional attributions that we need to include is a little cumbersome. Because we need to hold on. I gotta read through this a little bit more focused. Okay, so if we do a jack or a standalone, we need to do the copyright attribution for RT audio. If we do the LAD SPA, we need the LGPL version 2.1 plus license, just basically just open source. Same for the DSSI. For LV2, it's an ISC, so we need the copyright. It's requiring copyright attribution from Steve Harris, David Robillard, Richard Furse, Paul Barton Davis, Stephen Westerfield. But, you know, we're not looking at creating LV2s. VST3, it's an ISC license. The only attribution that we need to do for creating the VST3 is just mention that we use distro plugin framework.
Right.
Yeah, cool. Cool. So yeah, as long as we're not creating like AUs or CLAPs, VST2s, as long as we're doing VST3s, all we gotta do is mention distro DPF at least once.
All right. The other stuff doesn't sound like a huge deal either, so.
Yeah.
Still, that's probably as good as we're going to get on licensing.
So. Yeah, actually, like that's the best licensing deal I've heard all week.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're three down, and we get 11 to go here.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Yeah, we gotta speed through the rest of these a little bit.
We spent like 40 minutes on
deep distro. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Sorry, everybody.
All right. Let's see here. Let's get back into our list here. So we got the iPlug 2. And these are just carried over, so we'll change these out.
Oh, looks like we have a nice little heckler.
Oh, is somebody in our chat?
Yeah.
All right, what does he have to say?
No, you may not. All right, what's next? iPlug 2. Okay, iPlug 2. So, is it still supported? Yes. There are merges with the main repository yesterday. Cool. So yes, it is still supported and being worked on. Licensing. Let's see. It's free to use in closed source projects, but not open source, which is what we would be doing. So, I don't like that. I don't like that. I would give it a 4, 3 or a 4 on licensing. It's like, yeah, it's got a nice license, right? Where as long as you're closed source, you can do whatever you want with it, right? However, if you do open source, you gotta go through a whole bunch of shenanigans with them. Free and open source. Yes, it is free and open source. But once again, like licensing.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember us talking about that one.
Yeah. It is free and open source, so like I don't know, give it a 6 out of 10 because it's free. Actually, no, give it a 5 because it's free,
but it's not
but
free and open source. It's either free or open sourced.
Yeah.
It's a Boolean. Or statement.
Flexibility features available. It's got a lot. Like, it's got a lot of features. Yeah. Let's look at its API docs. Let's list. Holy shenanigans, Batman. Okay. Cool. Yeah, so it has the ability to. It has basically all the same stuff as the distro DPF, except that it can be used on web-based DAWs.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool. It also has the ability to export to a Reaper, to the Reaper plugin, which I don't think that I mean, VST3, as long as VST3 can be used in Reaper, like, it'd be fine. I don't know. I don't use Reaper. I'm gonna hit up one of my buddies who does. See if he has any input. But yeah, it's got a lot of the same stuff as distro.
Yeah.
So I would give it, I don't know, 7 or an 8.
Yeah.
On flexibility and features.
Okay.
Now for Documentation. Oh boy. Let's take a look at its documentation. Okay. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so it's got 2 academic papers that they wrote about the project.
Mm-hmm.
You can watch the presentations on YouTube. Let's look at this. Yeah, the documentation is good. Same, literally the same documentation as distro DPF.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, give it the same score as distro.
Okay.
I just in terms of additional tools that would be needed. Um, let's see. C, C++, Objective C, Python, assembly. Oh boy. Okay. So yeah, we would want Python and C++.
Mm-hmm.
Just to double check that everything's running correctly in case we run into any problems. But other than that, it's basically just C++.
Nice. All right.
Yeah, C++. That's all we need.
I'm gonna take a break real quick if that's okay.
All right. Nano VG. What is Nano VG? Oh, you. Okay. That's just a graphics thing. That's Skia. Skia. 2D graphics library. Okay. Well, that's cool. Side chains, surround effects, drum synth. I can be written in HTML, CSS, JavaScript, platform web view. That's cool. I really like distro DF. Fun reading. Let's see. Let's check iPlugs list. Latest issues. Issues, to-do markers, documentation, documentation that has inconsistent style, makes use of /param with the same files, complete parameter documentation with only some parameters documented, using return documentation functions with return values but at return tags.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that.
Well, going back, I'm just reading through the issues that are posted to the iPlug.
iPlug too, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Looks like there's some methods that have inconsistent styling and inconsistent levels of detail with the documentation.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it looks like the repo's owner is putting all that on a to-do list, so that might be updated soon. Maybe. I don't know. It is nice that it's that the repo's being updated every day essentially. So it's continually being worked on. So that's nice.
Yeah.
So
it's definitely supported.
Yep. Licensing is free and open source, flexibility, decent, usability, yeah, pretty good.
Okay.
Alrighty. What's its total? 9, 16, 22. Woof.
Or is that 23? No, that's 22. Yeah. That's an F.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oof.
I would think it would be at least a D.
Yeah.
But
D or a C, I would have thought, but whatever.
Yeah. At least it's graced with being on here.
Yep.
Aspic. This one I remember. I think this was kind of. I don't want to say. I want to say bad, but it is Steinberg.
Oh, it's Steinberg.
So yeah. So licensing might not be the best deal.
Where are you seeing that it's created with? Oh yeah, I see it now. Shit. Okay.
Steinberg again.
Yep. Oh boy. Okay. Well, is it supported? Their GitHub only has 2 branches. Let's check their issues. When was the last one posted? February 27th. Doesn't install on Windows 11 ARM, but can compile x64 plugins. Okay. Cool. I don't care if you're trying to run this through a frickin' VM. Let's see. CMake option. Some TG create plugin link 80 doesn't work. Blah 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 blah. No response from the repository's owner. Audio unit and AAX plugin output parameters are not refreshed in GUI. Build errors with Visual Studio 2022 on Windows 11. That's not promising. Okay, so Aspect only supports Windows 8 through 10. It supports Visual Studio 2015, 2017, 2019, not 2022. Oh wait,
so you just said Windows 8 through 10? Sorry, I cut you off there. All right, that is going straight in the F tier then. I don't care what anyone says. I literally couldn't even deal with this on my computer.
Yeah, you specifically could not work on this.
Yeah. So for me, I would put that in the F tier for myself.
Yeah, go ahead, straight up. Like, you would not be able.
Yeah, and then what about the other stuff? Let's give it a little bit of a fair shot. Like, other than that.
Yeah.
What about? Yeah.
Let's see. Documentation. Where's your guys' documentation?
This is Aspic, right?
Yeah. All right, I guess I'll go to your examples. Samples. Demo effects. Demo volume plugin. WinBuild. Okay. So they have their own custom GUI. Parameters. Filters. Okay. Cool. Object. What's a link fits Riley filter? Oh. Okay. 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 Alright. Flat amplitude response. Smooth phase change. Cool. Reverb. Peak limiter. Vocoder.
Oh wow.
They have their own little vocoder class. That's That's pretty neat.
It was an aspect.
That's nifty. That's cool.
So
Too bad we won't be using it.
So just for the tools, right? I'm gonna put it as a 5 out of 10 for usability. I'm not gonna give it an automatic F just because I feel like there's something good here, but it's just like, I don't know.
There is something good here.
Yeah.
If it was supported by Windows 11, it could battle with distro. Which actually, that's a thing I'm going to have to check real fast on distro. Is it compatible with Windows 11? I mean, I don't see anything that says that it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's literally just a C++ library at the end of the day, right? So
yeah,
I feel like it would be. I mean, it's like. What was the licensing for Aspic?
Oh, for Aspic?
Because I heard it was Steinberg.
This agreement is between Tritone Systems Inc. Hereafter as Tritone and you, the user of Aspic Software Development Kit, the Aspic SDK. You are hereafter referred to as the licensee. Grants to the licensee a non-exclusive, worldwide, non-transferable license during the term of this agreement to use Aspic SDK for audio plugins or applications or plugin projects, commercial or non-commercial, publishing, selling, or otherwise distributing audio plugins or applications under licensee's brand name, that is, parts or all of the Aspic Software Development Kit. Restrictions on the SDK, unless the licensee has express written permission from Tritone Systems Inc. The licensee does not have permission to sell, license, give away, and or distribute the license SDK or parts of it for the use as SDK in any way, for example, integrated in any framework application on any medium, including the internet, to any other person, including sub-licensors of the licensee or companies where the licensee has any involvement. This includes reworking the specification or reverse engineering any product based upon the specification. In case the Aspic SDK is modified, it shall not be published, sold, or distributed without express written permission and agreement of Tritone. Furthermore, the naming of the modified Aspic SDK shall not include Aspic SDK or any combination containing the Aspic brand without permission of Tritone. In case the license SDK is extended by additional code, it shall not be used in any other description than licensee's company name extension to Aspic SDK. Redistribution of source code. Redistribution and use of the Aspic SDK in source and binary form with or without modification are permitted providing the following conditions are met. Redistribution of source code must retain the above copyright notice, this list of conditions, and the following disclaimer. Binary form must reproduce the above copyright notice, blah, blah, blah. Name Aspic SDK nor the names of its contributors may be used to endorse or promote products derived from this software without specific prior written permission. The software is provided by the copyright holders and contributors as is, and any express or implied warranties, including but not limited to the implied warranties of merchantability and fitness for a particular purpose, are disclaimed. In no event shall the copyright holder or contributors be liable for any direct, indirect, incidental, special, exemplary, or consequential damages, including but not limited to procurement of substitute goods or services, loss of use, data, or profits, or business interruption, however caused, and on any theory of liability, whether in contract, strict liability, or tort, including negligence or otherwise, arising in any way out of the use of the software, even if advised of the possibility of such damage. Okay, that was a mouthful. Basically, the gist is we need their written permission.
All right. That's
just.
That's not good.
Don't worry, their copyright is from 2017 to 2023.
So copyright already ran out.
I'm sure it still holds.
Yeah. Just plus out of principle.
Yep. Alrighty. What's next on the list?
Yeah, so does 5, 5, and 8 and a 5 work, or we gotta change some values here?
Change the flexibility and features down to actually no, leave it at an 8. They do have quite a bit of features that we could work around with if we could use it.
Yeah. But usability?
Documentation is about the same as everyone else's, besides Steinberg.
Okay.
Steinberg, gold standard for documentation.
Yeah. 6 maybe for usability?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a 24 out of 40, I think.
It's not bad.
That's a D, right?
24 out of 40? Let's see.
It's gonna be a D.
24 times 2.5. Yeah.
So that's 0.6, right? Yeah, that's 0.6. That's a D, yeah. So you get a D. And if it weren't for the licensing, it'd be way higher. If it weren't for Windows 11, quite a bit higher. All right. Sweet. And this is why you don't always want to get the latest and greatest, because sometimes you have tools that you need to use prior versions.
That you need to use.
Yeah.
Or that you want to use.
Yeah. Well, it is getting later, so before we get too much further, we gotta go through juice. Yeah.
Alrighty, juice.
Juice, and then I don't know which else here is a priority. If we can pick like 3 priorities, I think that'd be great.
Okay. What are our options? We have juice, traction. What's that third one after?
Rack AFX.
Oh, okay. Faust, Heist, Synth Edit, Clap, Pedal Board, and Audio Kit. I would think Juice, Heist, and probably Pedal Board.
Okay. And this is VST port, not plugin. So like this will. I'm trying to pull up here. So this might even be out of the race. This might be out of the race, actually.
Maybe.
Let me look it up. Okay. So it's used more for building a plugin host, not a plugin itself.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you could definitely stack it with something, but it wouldn't be a plugin. Cool. And it's an Apache 2 license. Whatever that means.
Terms and conditions for use, reproduction, and distribution. Oh boy. Subject to the terms and conditions of this license, each contributor hereby grants you a perpetual, worldwide, non-exclusive, no-charge, royalty-free, irrevocable copyright license to reproduce, prepare derivative works of, publicly display, publicly perform, sub-license, and distribute the work and such derivative works in source or object form. So, meaning we could use it, create a derivative, and distribute it.
Oh. That doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. It's not for plugins itself, though.
Yeah. So accepting warranty or additional liability while redistributing the work or derivative works thereof, you may choose to offer and charge a fee for acceptance of support, warranty, indemnity, or other liability obligations and or rights consistent with this license. However, in accepting such obligations, you may only act on your own behalf and your sole responsibility, not on behalf of any other contributor, and only if you agree to indemnify, defend, and hold each contributor harmless for any liability by it or claims asserted against such contributors by reason of accepting any such warranty or additional liability. Yeah, okay. It's not a bad license. Just gives us the ability to work it however we want. And then if they charge a fee for it, then we can take action. I guess. If I'm understanding that correctly. Disclaimer of warranty, unless required by applicable law or agreed to in writing, licensor provides the work and each contributor provides its contributions on an as-is basis without warranties or conditions of any kind, either express or implied, including without limitations any warranties or conditions of title, non-infringement, merchantability, or fitness for a particular purpose. You are solely responsible for determining the appropriateness of using or redistributing work and assume any risk associated with your exercise of permissions under this license. Yeah. So yeah, we would be able to use it however we wanted.
Nice. So that is really good. Well, yeah. Well, since we already kind of got started on this.
Oh wow.
What?
So I'm looking at the companies that use Juice.
Yep.
Spotify. I'll never guess this.
Spotify?
No, they're not listed. But Steinberg.
Oh.
Oh, that's funny. But no, the ones that really caught my eye are MathWorks and Wolfram.
Oh wow! Yeah. Speaking of which, MATLAB Simulink has its own audio library deal. I haven't played with it. Yeah, they got audio stuff on there. Simulink. Yeah, I should play around with this.
Yeah, you should play around with that sometime.
This is not the Spotify one. Oh, never mind. Looking at something. Yeah. So, pedalboard. Sounds like the licensing in open source is like 10. Oh.
I would give it a 9, just in case I misinterpreted anything from there.
All right.
I might have. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah. Usability. Supposedly it's for plugin hosts.
Ba, 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 ba. Python library for working with audio, reading, writing, rendering, adding effects, and more. It supports most popular audio file formats and a number of common audio effects out of the box, and also allows the use of VST3 and audio formats for loading third-party software instruments and effects. It's built by Spotify's Audio Intelligence Lab to enable using studio quality audio effects from within Python and TensorFlow. Oh. Internally at Spotify, Pedalboard is used for data augmentation to improve machine learning models and help power features like Spotify's AI DJ and AI voice translation. Pedalboard also helps in the process of content creation, making it simple to add text to audio without using a DAW. Oh. Oh. It releases Python's GIL, Global Interpreter Lock, to allow use of multiple CPU cores.
Oh.
So no multi-processing.
Okay.
All threads, baby. Well, the installation looks pretty easy.
That's good.
There's not a whole lot of dependencies. Literally just pip install pedalboard. Boom, done.
All right, that gives a 10. That gets a 10 on the tools.
Oh. You can create parallel effects chains. Hell, okay. Okay, I see you, pedalboard. I see you. All right, let's see. What's your licensing? GPL3. Cool. Core audio processing code is pulled from Juice 6. Dual licensed under commercial licensing from Juice 6 and the GPL for V3. It's got Steinberg in there, but it's licensed under the GPL V3 for Steinberg, so free version. Here's their little Steinberg. Oh, there it is. ESC is registered trademark of Steinberg Media Technologies GmbH. There it is. All the way at the bottom. Okay, so this has a lot of licenses that are dual licensed. Yeah.
It's not Apache 2. It's the opposite of that.
Yep.
Cool. Whatever I was reading was wrong, so. There.
And if you'll notice, we have
Steinberg.
no way. Are there even any CPP files in here? Or is it all just HTML and text files? We got some Python files. Some header files. Okay, the header files are nice. Actually, code. But like no commenting. It's great. Okay, there we go. There's okay. Yep. Wrapper around rubber band. I was calling it independently of plugin context to allow for bit shifting and time stretching on size chunks of audio. So that's the time stretch header file. Juice header. Mm-hmm. Cool. Alrighty. Well, it's got a lot of features.
Yeah.
It has quite a bit of features. I would give it maybe a 7 or an 8 on the flexibility.
Yeah.
Maybe even a 9.
Okay.
Because there's a lot that you can do with it.
Yeah. Usability.
Flexibility.
Yeah. Yeah, it's already.
Yeah.
Usability. Documentation. Is that there? You said tools are pretty nice, so.
Yeah, it's got the installation is
easy.
Dead simple.
Yeah. So
but it's got API references, it's got quick starts, it's got it's got good documentation. I would give it
8.
Honestly, 9 or a 10.
Okay.
On documentation.
Okay. I'm gonna give it a 9.
Okay.
I think overall for usability, licensing and open source. That was like a lot of double licensing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's got quite a bit of double license, dual license. So for Juice 6, we would need to read up on the Juice 6 licensing.
Mm-hmm.
And see what that's all about.
Yeah.
But it's nice that a lot of them are under the the GPL licenses. So that's basically just saying it's open source. But yeah, if we need to license through Steinberg and Juice and all of that stuff, like, I'd give it maybe a 5.
Okay. Five on both of them.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, tally up the score here. So that's 17 plus 10. That's 27.
Not bad. That's like basically a D or a C minus, right?
Yeah, I think so. Oh, hold on.
67.5, so solid D. D plus.
67.5.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, it looks like it's ahead of Aspic though, so
just a little bit.
It almost got into the C category.
Almost.
If we gave it another point, which I'm kind of tempted to do, we could bump it up to a C. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens the rest of this.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, we got. Do I want to do Heist first or do I want to do Juice first? I think we're going to only do 2 more because I don't know that any of the rest of these are worth looking at right now.
Yeah. Let's go with Juice.
Okay, yeah. That seems to be like the most important one to get. Yeah.
All right. Now, honestly, I think we should just end it after Juice.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Yeah, so Juice. Last but not least.
Is it supported? Yes.
And we got a big boy that uses Juice, so.
We got a lot of big boys that use Juice.
I'm gonna probably say that the flexibility and usability is gonna be pretty high. Just not really knowing anything.
Yeah, no, the flexibility and usability are 10 and 10.
Yeah.
Like
it's gonna come down to licensing.
Yeah. it's always boiling down to licensing. But yeah, flexibility features, like the features available, there's a lot.
Yeah.
You know, if we just look at some of the plugins that have been created using Juice, we got Vital.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the Spitfire Labs plugin, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Pedalboard obviously uses Juice.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot that uses Juice.
Yeah.
Adobe uses Juice. Freaking Dolby, Netflix, THX, like big names use Juice. Sennheiser uses Juice. Yamaha. Like Moog? Huh. But yeah. Yeah. Juice, flexibility features, like, yes. 10 out of 10.
The documentation looks pretty up to snuff so far. Just even just the README is pretty good. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, but now we get into the important part: licensing.
Licensing. Oh boy.
I need to get a meme board, and one of the things that I'm gonna put on that meme board are the Law and Order.
Dun dun.
Dun 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 dun. Yeah, put that on one of the memes. So every time we go into licensing, we play that meme. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay, Juice 8. End user licensing agreement. The agreement is a legal agreement for the licensing of Juice 8 framework between you and Raw Material Software Limited, a company registered in England and Wales with company number 0397116. Registered office address at 5 Technology Park, Colindale Lane, Colindale, London, United Kingdom, NW96BX. If you are accepting the terms of this agreement on behalf of a company or other legal entity, you represent and warrant that you have the authority to bind that company or other legal entity to terms of this agreement. In such event, you and licensee will refer to that company or other legal. You must be over 18 to accept the terms of this agreement. If you are not 18 years of age, but you are at least the age of 13, you may use the framework only if your parent or guardian accepts the terms of this agreement. Then any reference to you shall include the parent or guardian. Clicking on the accept link, button linking to these terms, or by downloading, installing, or using the framework, or combining the framework with any other source code, object code, content, or any other copyrightable work, you agree to the terms of this agreement. And all incorporated terms, including the Juice privacy policy and the Juice website terms of service as applicable, which will bind you. If you do not agree to these terms, we will not license the framework for you, and you must discontinue the installation or download process and cease use of the framework. Users of Juice 765 or 4 should refer to the EULA corresponding to the particular version of Juice. End user licensing agreements for older versions of Juice can be found at the following link. Okay. Oh boy, we have so much to read through. We have 11 sections, and section 1 has 17 subsections. Never mind. 17 subsections. Subsection 2 has 3 subsections.
Wow.
So 20 subsections in section 1.
Yeah, just based on the amount of that, I feel like it's fair that
they are covering literally every basis.
Yeah. I don't really want to rate it all that highly on this stuff myself.
Sorry, I'm speed reading through this.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Ownership of the framework. We do not sell the framework to you, and there is no transfer of ownership. The framework is licensed to you under one of the license types as license, as described in this agreement. So the framework at all times. Yeah, that's perfectly acceptable, provided you adhere to the terms of this agreement, including payment of subscription fees and their minimum commitments. We grant you a worldwide non-exclusive, non-transferable license to download, install, copy, modify, and execute the framework. That's nice, but I don't want to pay a subscription fee.
Yeah. I mean, just that docks it pretty far.
I'm sorry?
Just that docks it pretty far, the subscription fee.
Yeah. Blah, 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 blah. Distributing and selling products owned by you, provided you adhere to the terms of the agreement, we grant you a worldwide non-exclusive license to distribute and sell products where you are the owner. For these purposes, to distribute is to make a product, a copy of the product, or the functionality of the product or network available to another person or entity. Okay, cool. The number of license seats required to distribute products. If a product has been developed or maintained using a subscription license, then all subscription license seats required to develop or maintain that product must be kept active to continue developing and distributing the product. Except as set out below, the size of the team developing or maintaining a product is reduced. You must maintain a subscription for the original number of license seats to continue to develop and distribute the product. So if we started off with a team of, say, 10 developers and we bought a license for all 10 and then we cut down to 2, we would still have to pay for all 10 licenses.
Yeah, that's no bueno. And let's say we all die. There or we're not able to do this anymore. We would have to basically just pull it because you know 7.21 they're not liable for that.
And the next section says if a subscription is canceled, the number of seats reduced, or the corresponding fees for the subscription are not paid, then you must immediately cease development and distribution of a product unless you purchase the corresponding number of perpetual licenses seats. You may reduce the number of license seats required to maintain or distribute a product to the number of framework users currently requiring a license seat to maintain that product when upgrading to the next major version of Juice. Indie subscription license holders may reduce the number of seats in their subscription to the number required to maintain or distribute a product at any time, providing that there remains at least one active subscription or perpetual license seat at all times, and all corresponding minimum commitments have been. Cool.
Yeah. I kind of want to put this below a 5.
Products directed towards children. You may not use the framework in connection with any product that may be directed to children, as defined under the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, COPPA. The Act of 1998, unless you fully comply with COPPA and all other similar applicable laws, you are fully liable for and will defend, hold harmless, and indemnify RMS and its affiliates against any and all liability arising from or relating to COPPA in connection with any product directed to children. So if we use it, we can't say it's so easy, even a 5-year-old could use it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Which, I respect it. I respect it. COPPA, respect. Sublicensing and distributing the framework on its own. You may not sell, sublicense, or otherwise distribute the framework or any subset of the framework on its own. Licensing restriction except as expressly set out in this agreement or as permitted by any local law you undertake. Section 2.1, not in whole or in part to copy the framework except where such copying is incidental to normal use of the framework and necessary for the purpose of a backup, not to rent, lease, sublease, loan, translate, merge, adapt, or verify or modify the framework, nor permit the framework or any part of it to be combined with or become incorporated in any other programs or frameworks. Yeah, I'm just gonna give it a I don't know, a 3 on licensing.
Yeah. Great.
This is a lot. I'm not a lawyer. Like,
Yeah.
just let me use your stuff, man.
About free and open source, I mean, it's definitely not free. Oh, yeah, it's not free. Yeah, okay. There we go.
No, it's
All right.
not free.
It was a binary thing. So, I'm going to say he gets a 28 then. Does 28 sound fair?
Yeah.
Right.
The flexibility and usability is good, so like
Okay, so that's C, but that's behind Steinberg. Okay, so we got. What are you doing? No, 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 no.
alrighty. Now to curve them.
Yep. So, of the ones we did, and tier list is kind of crapping out on me. So we got 29. Actually, imagine if you throw a calculator up at your end.
Yeah, go ahead and throw some numbers at me.
Okay. 29, 32.
Are we doing like load?
All out of 40. And we're going to get an average, and then whatever the deviation from 30 is, we'll add that to every score.
All right, so 29, 32.
22, 28, 24, and 27. And then crates is it's a 0. Actually, I won't include that in the score.
Won't throw it in the score?
No, we'll leave that out.
All right, so the total is 162. 162 divided by 40 is 4.05.
Wait, no, you are supposed to take the average and then divide it by the amount of people.
Oh.
So we're getting a mean score.
So 162 divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I think so.
27.
Let me check that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, that's it. Yep, good. 168 divided by 6.
162 divided by 6.
162. What is that? It's 27.
Yep.
So I think that means everyone gets 3 points from where they're at. Is that how that works? Eh. And bump it up more than that.
Yeah. Yeah. It would be about plus 3 points each.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I'm just
because it's 2.825.
Yeah.
So bonus 3 points each.
Yeah. Thirty-two.
Or sorry, 3.375 is the actual number. My bad. I noticed that I had a 0 times one of them. My bad. I fixed it. But yeah, 3 point.
Yeah. There's nothing that's on the S tier, so that's kind of funny. Worked out. Okay, from the bottom, pedal board will get a C. Aspic gets a low C. Juice gets a pretty high C. iPlug 2 gets a D. DPF, that gets, what is that? That's an A, actually. Okay. Almost got A plus. And then Mr. Steinberg, you get a B. Then where's Juice again? Juice
should
also
be right next to Steinberg.
Yeah, Juice is right with pedal board. Okay, so Juice is ahead of pedal board. Okay. All right. Yeah, that looks right. Okay. Cool. So I think the first thing we should look at is DPS.
The D
Or
the
DPF.
DPF?
DPF, yeah. Sorry.
Distro DPF.
Yep.
Alrighty.
But we should look at all these other ones too, just in case. But we'll do that on our own time, maybe.
Yeah.
Heist and Clap, I think, are the two to look at most. Some of these other ones can be good too. Anyways. Well, we're going to probably have to end the stream here.
Yep.
All right, so next action items, probably just play around with DPS and try and get an environment going. And then figure out if there's anything that we don't like.
We'll see if I can't get a distro DPF to work on my end.
Yeah. All right. Well, I have it, everyone. I've been streaming for almost 3 hours, so good
A
stream.
little longer than usual.
Yep. All right, everyone.
Sorry for the long section on distro. I got a little excited.
Yep. All right. Well, everyone, have a great day. Have a great rest of your week, and see you next Monday.